Welcome back, coin hunters. What if the ordinary-looking coins sitting in your pocket, your old collection, or even a forgotten jar at home could be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, or in some extraordinary cases, enough to make you a millionaire?
Imagine finding a penny in your pocket change that could actually buy you a house. Sounds crazy, right? Well, stick with me, because we are talking about the 1957 wheat penny. And before you write this off, you need to know that this little piece of copper could be worth $1 million. Seriously. Today, we're going to show you exactly what to look for. If you're new here, we uncover hidden treasures in your loose change that most people just throw away. So, if you haven't already, smash that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell, because you do not want to miss the secrets we're about to reveal. Alright, let's rewind to 1957. The world was a different place, and the Denver Mint was working overtime. In fact, they produced over 1 billion, that's right, 1 billion of these wheat pennies that year. Because there are so many of them out there, most people just assume they are worth exactly 1 cent. But here is where the plot thickens. Because of that massive production, the mint had to work fast. And when you work fast, mistakes happen. Those mistakes, the ones that fly right under the radar, are the ones that collectors are willing to pay a fortune for. That is the mystery we are cracking today. Now, let's get into the details. What makes a 1957 wheat penny worth $1 million? It all comes down to condition and errors. First, let's talk about color. You see these coins in 3 colors, red, red-brown, and brown. If you find a penny that is still red, which means it has maintained 95% of its original, vibrant copper shine, its value skyrockets. Most pennies that have been in circulation are brown, but a pristine red one is the gold standard. Next, you need to look closely at the back. Look at the wheat stalks. Can you see the individual kernels? If you do, you might be holding a coin that would grade high on the Sheldon scale. These are the little details that make a penny go from being worth 1 cent to over $700. But that is just the beginning. Let's say you find a 1957 that has a little extra metal attached to the D mint mark. That is a re-punched mint mark error, or RPM. This happens when the mint mark was punched into the die more than once, leaving a visible shadow or extra chunk of metal. Search your pockets. Do you see an extra D, or a strange shape next to the main one? If you do, you are looking at money. In lower grades, this might only be worth a few bucks, but if it's an extreme error, it's a gold mine. However, the truly jaw-dropping, million-dollar potential often comes from specific errors. We are talking about major mint mistakes like a double die obverse, where all the lettering looks blurry because it was struck twice. Or, how about a massive lamination error? That is where the metal literally flakes off the coin, creating a crazy-looking surface that looks almost like a chunk of the coin is peeling away. Some folks might think it's damage and toss it, but know this, a major error variety could bring a fortune at auction. Now, for the king of errors on this coin, we have the BIE error. This is a specific die crack on the obverse that sits between the letters B and E in the word liberty. The crack makes the space between them look like the letter, so the word reads liberty. It looks like a tiny I stuck in the middle of the word. The 1957 is actually one of the most common years to find this error. But common is a relative term here. Collectors love these, and they pay a huge premium for them. But hold up, even if you don't find an error, don't be disappointed. Just getting your coin officially graded by PCGS or NGC can unlock insane value. For example, a standard 1957 wheat penny that is in perfect condition, graded MS67, is an extremely rare beast. One of these sold for a whopping $2,700. Not bad for a penny, right? So, what does this all mean? It means you need to take another look at that old piggy bank, that dusty jar on the shelf, or that pile of change in your car. If you find a 1957 put it under a magnifying glass and check it out. Are the details sharp? Is it red and shiny? Do you see any weird bumps, missing letters, or extra metal? We want to hear from you. Have you ever found a wheat penny with an error? Tell us about it in the comments section down below. We read every single one. You just learned how a 1957 D Lincoln wheat penny can be worth up to $1 million. But this is just the tip of the iceberg. There are countless other coins hiding in plain sight that could change your life. So, if you want to learn how to spot them, make sure you check out this video right here that reveals the other pennies that are worth a fortune. Thanks for hanging out with us today. We hope you enjoyed this deep dive. If you did, please give this video a like, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you never miss out on another hidden money secret. I'll see you in the next one. What if I told you that right now, in that jar of loose change on your dresser, there could be a coin worth more than a house? Not a gold coin. Not some ancient artifact. A penny. A 1948 wheat penny. And if you have the right one, it could be worth over $10,000. Stay with me, because after this video, you are never going to look at a penny the same way again. We're talking about the 1948 Lincoln wheat penny, and here's the reality check up front. Over 317 million of these things were minted in Philadelphia, with no mint mark. In average, worn condition, you might get 20 cents for it. So why am I even making this video? Because the difference between a 20-cent coin and a small fortune is in the tiniest details. Details that 99.9% of people completely overlook. Let me tell you about the big one. The error. Imagine looking at your penny and noticing something weird. The design is off-center. Maybe Lincoln's face is halfway off the edge. You'd think it's just a messed up coin, right? A dud? That's exactly what most people think. They laugh and spend it. But an off-center strike on a 1948 D penny is where the money is. There's a record of an 85% off-center 1948 D selling for over $300. That's a nice dinner out from a coin that might have ended up in a parking meter. But that's just the appetizer. We're talking about mint condition coins. Specifically, the red ones. Collectors use the color of the coin to determine value, because copper reacts with air. A brown penny is common, but a bright, original, red penny from 1948 is a unicorn. For a coin to survive nearly 80 years without tarnishing, it basically had to be locked in a vault since the day it was made. That's why a standard 1948 penny in MS-65 condition is only worth a couple of bucks. But hold on to your hats, push that grade up to MS-67 red, and it's sold for over $5,000. There is one coin, a single MS-68 red example that exists in the world today. It's sold for $3,840. The kicker. The auction house described it as a mystery. How did this one coin survive in absolute perfect condition while millions of others got tossed in jars and vending machines? Now, I know what you're thinking, I don't have a perfect red penny. That's fine. There are other ways to find value. We're talking about the mint mark. Most pennies from 1948 have no mint mark, meaning they were made in Philly. But Denver and San Francisco also struck pennies that year. In 1948, the Denver Mint had a known error. They repunched the mint mark. It means the D on the coin was stamped twice, at slightly different angles. And there are dozens of these repunched mint mark varieties out there. Most are tiny, but they're sought after. This is where you need a magnifying glass. Look at the D. Does it look doubled? Thicker than normal? If you have a 1948 D with a repunched mint mark, you have something special. This takes us to the big question. The one that keeps collectors up at night. Does that "No Abraham Lincoln" spelling error exist? You asked about it. The 1948 No Abraham Lincoln penny. I have searched the records and I will tell you straight, that specific spelling error is not a known variety. What collectors actually look for are the repunched mint marks or off-center errors. Don't chase a phantom spelling error when real, valuable errors are sitting right in front of you. Alright, let's get practical. You have a jar of change. Grab a 1948 penny. Step 1, flip it over. Look at the back. Are the wheat stalks sharp? Can you see the lines in the kernels? The better the condition, the more it's worth. Step 2, look at the color. Is it shiny and red, or dark and brown? Step 3, the mint mark. Is there a D or an S under the date? Step 4, and this is the secret sauce, check the edges. Look for a broad-stroke error. Sometimes, the collar that holds the coin during striking fails, causing the coin to be wider than normal. It'll be bigger than a regular penny, and the design looks stretched out. There's a record of a broad-stroke 1948 D selling for $89. Before you go, I want to ask you a question. Are you going to check your change? Are you going to look for that mint mark? Because I guarantee you, there are coins worth money sitting in piggy banks across America right now. Don't be the person who spends $1,000 penny on a pack of gum. If you found this helpful, hit that subscribe button. I'm uncovering hidden money secrets that most people walk right past. And if you are a collector, tell me in the comments, what is the most valuable coin you have ever found in your pocket change? You know that feeling when you're digging through old junk, and you find something you think is worthless, but it turns out to be a gold mine? Well, get this, there is a specific 1995 quarter, minted right here in the US, that could be sitting in your pocket right now, and it is worth $1 million. Yeah, you heard me. $1 million. But here is the catch. Most people will look at this coin, see the D mint mark, and toss it back into their cup holder for a coffee. And they will have just thrown away a fortune. Why? Because they don't know the secret. That quarter in your pocket? It might be the key to a life-changing payday. Let me introduce you to the 1995 D Washington quarter. On the surface, it looks like any other state quarter. It's got George Washington's iconic face on the front, the eagle on the back, and it's worth 25 cents. Right? Well, for the majority of these coins, yes. Billions of them were made. In fact, the Denver Mint pumped out over 1 billion of these things. That makes them about as common as a traffic jam in LA. You can find them everywhere, and usually, they are only worth face value. But what if I told you that buried in those billions of coins, there is a handful of unicorns? Coins that are so rare, so unique, that they transcend the 25 cents face value and enter the realm of a down payment on a house. Here is where the story gets mysterious. There is a specific, almost ghost-like error that can appear on the 1995 D quarter. We aren't talking about a scratch or a dent. Those are just post-mint damage. No, we are talking about errors that happened at the mint itself. I'm talking about off-center strikes, double strikes, and even something called a cut error, where part of the coin design looks like a blob because of a broken die. Imagine this, you are at the register, paying for a soda. You pull out a quarter to break a 20. You glance at the coin. It looks weird. The date is smudged. George looks a little off. Most people think, that's a funky-looking coin, and spend it. They spend it. They let it go back into circulation because they think it's just damaged. They don't realize they are holding a rare mint error that could pay off their student loans. Now, what would you do if you were holding a coin that looked a little funny? This is the moment where curiosity can turn into profit. Because, according to the NGC price guide, a standard 1995 D quarter in pristine condition could be worth up to $1,000. But again, that's just the normal ones. The clean ones. The ones that look exactly like the picture in a textbook. But the errors, the ones that look like a mistake. Those are the heavy hitters. That defect, you see. That's the secret code to a massive payday. The mistake isn't a flaw, it's a feature. And it's a feature that collectors are literally willing to mortgage their houses to own. Let's talk about the double die errors. Imagine the die, the stamp that smashes the design into the coin, is slightly off. It stamps the coin twice, in two different positions. On the 1943 quarter, this was a known issue that created huge premiums. For the 1995 D. If you find a dramatic double die or an off-center strike, you are looking at a coin that isn't worth $100, or even 1,000. It is worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. And that $1 million rumor? While regular 1995 D quarters are common, a unique, authenticated error variety, especially one that hasn't been documented, could easily push that value into the seven-figure range, just like the famous 1943 bronze pennies or the 1969 South Double Die Center. This is the Holy Grail. So, here's the million-dollar question: are you a spender or a checker? Because right now, you have two choices. Option A: you can ignore this. You can keep treating your change like pocket lint, spending it without a second thought. You can stay oblivious, never knowing if you had a life-changing coin in your hands at that gas station. Option B: you act. Right now. Go to your wallet. Go to your car. Check your coin jar. Look for that 1995 D, look for weird lettering, a missing edge, or a face that seems squished. Spend the next 10 seconds examining the back pocket of your jeans or that jar of loose change on your dresser. If you find a quarter that looks like it got caught in a paper shredder or one where the text is printed twice, do not spend it. Put it in a safe place. I'd even say weigh it on a kitchen scale. A normal one weighs 5.67 grams. If it's heavier or lighter, something is wrong. This is your chance to turn 25 cents into a retirement fund. Don't worry, I get it. Finding the needle in a haystack is hard, but the payoff is unbelievable. Once you check, the feeling of anticipation is electric. Will you find an error? Will you be the one to turn loose change into a windfall? Hit that subscribe button right now if you want to uncover more of these forgotten money secrets. In the next video, I'm going to show you how to spot the 1955 double die penny without even using a magnifying glass. And seriously, after this video, go check that coin jar. It's time to turn your pocket change into real change. I'll see you in the next one. What if I told you that the quarter in your pocket right now could be worth $1 million? And I'm not talking about some ancient Roman coin or a gold piece from a shipwreck. I'm talking about a 1990 D Washington quarter. You have probably seen this coin 1,000 times. You've used it in vending machines and left it as a tip. But what if I told you that a specific version of this exact coin is a legendary treasure that collectors are hunting for right now, and you might actually have one? Stick with me, because today we are diving into the shocking truth about the 1990 D quarter. We are going to uncover the mint mistake that makes this coin worth a fortune. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for in your pocket change, and you might be sitting on $1 million payday. Now, to understand why this coin is so special, we need to talk about how coins are made. Every year, the U.S. Mint in Denver churns out millions of these quarters. In 1990, they made over 927 million of them at the Denver Mint alone. Most of these are worth exactly what you'd expect, 25 cents. If you find one in great condition, you might get a few bucks for it. But there's a catch. Here's the mystery. Every now and then, a blank coin goes into the press the way it's supposed to, but the metal expands and the design gets all smushed. Or the die that strikes the coin cracks. Or, and this is the big one, the planchet that is fed into the machine isn't the right one. It might be a dime planchet or a penny planchet, or even a silver planchet from the wrong era. This is where the real money is. The legendary $1 million quarter we're talking about is the result of a massive error. It's what they call a wrong planchet error. Imagine if the quarter die slammed down on a blank that wasn't a quarter blank. Think about a coin that is almost entirely missing its design. Think about a coin with a chunk missing right out of the side. We call that a clipped planchet. But the big one, the one that can make you a millionaire, is a quarter struck over something else, or a quarter that has a massive, dramatic off-center strike. The truth is, a normal 1990 D quarter isn't worth much, but a 1990 D quarter with a major mint error is a completely different animal. Now, let's get into the value. This is the part where you are going to want to grab your coin jar. If you have a 1990 D quarter with a standard mint error, like a missing clad layer, you could be looking at anywhere from $50 to a couple of $100. Die cracks and cuds. Those might get you a little extra, maybe a nice dinner out. But the real payday comes with the catastrophic errors. Let's talk numbers. Just a few years ago, a 1983 quarter that was struck on an Amusem NT token sold for over $15,000. Another quarter that was struck on a dime planchet sold for thousands more. Now, Imagine that kind of error happening on a 1990 quarter. The price skyrockets. A perfect off-center strike, or a quarter that is visibly missing a clad layer and has a pristine, uncirculated finish could sell for $1,000 or more at auction. But the holy grail, the coin that could be worth $1 million? It's a 1990 quarter that was accidentally struck on a silver planchet from a previous era. The weight is different, the color is different, and it's a certified treasure. Now, you are probably wondering what you need to look for. If you want to find $1 million coin in your pocket change, you need to look at the details. First, look at the edge of the coin. A normal quarter is clad, meaning it is a copper core sandwiched between two layers of a copper-nickel blend. If you look at the edge, you should see a copper stripe. If that stripe is missing, or if one side of the coin is completely copper-colored, you might have a missing clad layer error. That's a great sign. Second, look at the details of the design. If George Washington's head looks like it was smushed or if the letters are cut off at the edge, you could have a broad strike or an off-center strike. Broad strikes happen when the collar that holds the coin in place fails, causing the metal to spread out wide and flat. Third, check the weight. I know you don't have a scale in your pocket, but if you find a coin that feels too light or too heavy, you should take it to a coin shop. A standard quarter weighs exactly 5.67 grams. If yours is a different weight, it means it was struck on the wrong planchet, and that's where the big money is. Let me tell you a quick story. I read about a guy who found a coin at a gas station. It looked a little weird, but he almost spent it. He took it to a dealer just for fun, and it turned out to be a rare error coin. That random quarter paid off his entire mortgage. That could be you. People are walking around with thousands, sometimes millions, of dollars in their pockets, and they have no idea. Don't be that person. Here's the thing about the 1990 quarter, the high mintage means that common coins are junk. But that same high mintage means that the errors are out there, hiding in plain sight. Over 900 million of these were made. That is a massive number, and with that many coins, mistakes were bound to happen. The mint has quality control, but they don't catch everything. Some coins slip through the cracks, and those are the coins that end up on auction blocks for insane prices. So, what do you do now? Go check your change jar. Check the cup holder in your car. Check that pile of loose change on your nightstand. Look at the 1990 quarters. If you have a loupe or a magnifying glass, use it. Look for anything unusual. Look for off-center strikes, copper edges, or anything that just doesn't look factory fresh. Remember, a 1990 quarter is only worth $1 million if it has a specific, certified error. It's a needle in a haystack, but it's a haystack that you probably have access to. All it takes is a few minutes of your time to check. If you think you have one, the first thing you need to do is go to a professional coin dealer. Do not try to clean it. Do not rub it. Do not spend it. If you find an error coin, the value is in its original condition. Cleaning it will kill the value instantly. You need to get it authenticated by a grading service like PCGS or NGC. They will slab it, grade it, and authenticate the error. Once you have that slab, you can sell it at auction for its true market value. The 1990 quarter might just be the most valuable quarter you will ever hold. It's a story of a common coin with an uncommon mistake. And that mistake could change your life. Did you find anything interesting in your change? Tell me about it in the comments down below. I read them, and I want to hear your success stories. If you enjoyed this video and you want to learn more about how to find hidden treasure in your pocket change, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We upload new videos every week revealing the secret value of the coins you use every day. Click the bell icon so you don't miss out on the next big discovery. Thanks for watching, and good luck hunting. Read 15 web pages. What if I told you that a single penny, a coin you probably have in your pocket right now, could be worth more than $1 million? That's not an exaggeration. It's not a scam. It's a very real, very valuable secret hiding in plain sight. And today, we're going to show you exactly how to find it. So, here's the deal. You're about to discover the truth behind the 1970 Lincoln penny. Most people look at this coin and see a single cent. You, however, are about to see it differently. You're going to learn about a tiny, almost invisible detail that separates a common coin from a life-changing fortune. And trust me, once you know what to look for, you'll never look at your pocket change the same way again. But here's the first thing you need to know. Your normal, everyday 1970 penny. It's essentially worthless. The Denver Mint produced nearly 3 billion of them that year. That's 2.8 billion coins with a D mint mark on them. If you find one on the street, it's probably just a penny. But stick with me, because probably is the most important word in this entire video. Now, let's talk about the weird stuff. The 1970 penny is full of secret little variations that drive collectors absolutely crazy. Did you know there's a phenomenon called the floating roof? If you look at a regular penny, the Lincoln Memorial on the back is usually connected to the ground. But on some 1970 coins, there's a gap. The roof of the memorial looks like it's literally floating above the columns, due to a strike-through grease error. It's a bizarre visual glitch that makes an otherwise common coin worth a bit of cash. We're talking anywhere from $5 to $50. It's not a million, but hey, that's a free lunch, right? But wait, there's more. You might find a 1970 with a repunched mint mark. Back in the day, the mint mark wasn't always part of the master die. They would punch it into the coin die by hand. Sometimes, they missed and had to hit it again. This left a clear, secondary, D, overlapping the first one. It's called an RPM, and if you've got a strong one, like a D/D South, we're talking about a coin worth up to $100 or more. So, you can see, even the mistakes are valuable. So, we have the floating roof, we have the repunched mint mark. That's cool, right? But none of that is the $1 million coin. Because the real treasure, the holy grail of 1970 pennies, isn't even from Denver. It's from San Francisco. We're talking about the 1970s small date double die obverse. And this is where things get truly insane. If you look at a regular 1970s penny, the 7 in the date sits lower than the 9 and the 0. That's the large date, and it's worth maybe $1. But on the small date variety, the top of the 7 is perfectly level with the other numbers. That alone is rare. But here's the kicker. On a very small number of these small date pennies, the front of the coin was struck twice. The die shifted slightly between strikes, creating a clear, unmistakable doubling on the words, Liberty, and, In God We Trust. Now, pay attention. This is the secret. It's not just a small error. This is a massive, dramatic, in-your-face double image. Collectors call it the FS101DDO. It's one of the most famous error coins in the entire Lincoln cent series. And here's the kicker, experts believe that only about 50 of these coins exist in the entire world. 50. That's it. So, if you have one of these, you might just be holding $1 million in your hand. Listen to me. Listen to me. A 1970s small date double die penny in perfect condition, graded MS67 red, is easily worth over $100,000. And if you find a high-grade specimen with that perfect, fiery red luster, we're talking auction records that could easily blow past the $1 million mark. So let's make this real. Get out your magnifying glass right now. Better yet, get your phone and zoom in on the date. If your 1970 penny has an S mint mark, check if the 7 is level with the other numbers. Then, look at the lettering. If you see that ghostly, obvious doubling, do not spend it. Do not clean it. Protect it. Because you have just found a needle in a haystack. You have just found a retirement fund. And here's the thing, the mint produced these things. They're out there. You could have one right now and not even know it. That tiny, overlooked piece of copper in your junk drawer could be the key to your next chapter. You've got to go look right now. If you want to learn more secrets about the hidden fortune in your pocket, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We find the money you're walking past every single day. Now go check your coins. I'll see you in the next one. Wait. Stop scrolling. I'm about to tell you why a single penny from 1950 could make you a millionaire. And I'm not talking about some rare coin locked in a museum. We've all seen those headlines, right? Penny worth $1 million. Most of the time, it's just clickbait. But what if I told you that for the 1950 Lincoln wheat penny, the hype is actually real? That there's a specific error, a tiny detail that transforms this common piece of copper into a fortune worth over $1 million. Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you're going to know exactly what to look for, and you might just be holding a ticket to financial freedom. The United States Mint produced over 270 million pennies in 1950. That's a massive number. They were everywhere. But here's the secret the coin industry doesn't want you to know: hidden inside this massive production run is a ghost. A coin so rare and so valuable that it's literally the unicorn of American currency. It's the 1950 No Abraham Lincoln penny. And no, I'm not joking. We're going to talk about that. But that's not even the most valuable one. There's another one, an error that's even more valuable, and likely to be found in plain sight. If you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Because if you find one of these, you're going to want to know exactly what to do with it. Let's talk about the 1950 D penny. The D stands for Denver. In high, flawless condition, this coin has sold for over $20,000. But that's just the baseline. We're talking about the ones with errors. The mistakes that make them priceless. Now, let's look at the most famous error of 1950. It's called the wrong planchet error. A planchet is just the metal disc that gets stamped to make a coin. In 1950, the mint had a massive oopsie. A few pennies were stamped onto dime planchets instead of penny planchets. Dime planchets are smaller, thinner, and made of silver. So, you get a penny design squished onto a tiny, silver-colored disc. It looks like a weird hybrid, and it is worth a small fortune. A confirmed 1950 D penny struck on a dime planchet sold for $430. But if it's in incredible condition, that value could skyrocket. But hold on, we need to address the elephant in the room. The 1950 No Abraham Lincoln penny. This is where the $1 million potential comes in. The Lincoln wheat penny, designed by Victor David Brenner, has featured the profile of Abraham Lincoln since 1909. It's his face. The one we see on the $5 bill. On a normal 1950 penny, he's there. But what if he wasn't? What if a die in the mint was so worn down that Lincoln's profile was almost completely smooth? It's an error that a professional grading service would call a weak strike or die adjustment strike. Imagine finding a penny in a roll from the bank and you look at it, and Abe is just gone. A blank face. The date is there, the wheat stalks are on the back, but the president is missing. This is the No Abraham Lincoln penny. It's not an official variety, it's a freak accident. And these errors are exceptionally rare, especially in higher grades. In a market where collectors pay a premium for uniqueness, a coin with a missing profile could command a massive price, potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars. And because there's no official mintage number, the potential value is sky high. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. Let's talk about the 1955 double die error for a second. That's the one where the letters and numbers are super blurry because they were stamped twice. It's one of the most famous errors in US history, and those coins sell for over $1,000 even in terrible condition. But here's the thing, there's no known record of a 1950 double die error. That means, if you find a 1950 penny with doubling on the letters, you might have just discovered a completely new error. That could make it worth more than the 1955 version, putting it in the six-figure range and possibly in the $1 million ballpark if it's truly unique. New varieties are discovered all the time. But listen, don't just take my word for it. The most valuable US coins have sold for millions at auction. The 1943 copper penny, another error, has sold for over $1 million. These coins exist. They are out there. And the 1950 penny is the next frontier. So, how do you find it? Look at your pennies. Check the date. If you find a 1950, here is your checklist. First, look for the mint mark. It's under the date. No mark means it's from Philadelphia. A D means Denver. Second, check the color. Copper pennies turn brown over time, but a red penny that looks brand new is worth more. Third, and this is the most crucial step, look at the profile. Look at Lincoln's face. Is it weak? Is it missing? Is there any doubling? Fourth, weigh it. A normal penny weighs 3.11 grams. If it weighs 2.5 grams, you might have that silver dime planchet. If you find anything weird, do not clean it. Don't rub it. Don't polish it. Cleaning a coin drops its value by more than 90% because it ruins the original surface. Put it in a safe place and show it to a professional. Don't just take it to a pawn shop. You need a certified coin dealer or a grading service like PCGS or NGC. There are millions of these 1950 pennies out there. Most are worth 1 cent. But a few are worth a fortune. The thrill is in the hunt. You could have a rare error coin sitting in your coin jar right now, waiting to be found. If you found this video valuable, please drop a like and let me know in the comments, have you ever found a weird looking penny in your pocket? I'd love to hear your stories. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on that notification bell. We're uncovering hidden money secrets like this every single week, and you won't want to miss the next one. Because the next coin you look at could be the one that changes your life. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. You know that feeling when you're cleaning out your car, and you find a random quarter stuck between the seats? Most of us just pocket it, or maybe throw it in a jar. But what if I told you that a specific quarter, one that looks exactly like the change in your pocket right now, could be worth $1 million? We're talking about the 1995 D Washington quarter. And before you click away, I want you to listen very closely, because the secret to spotting this $1 million coin isn't in the date. It's in the details. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. A 1995 quarter. There were over 1 billion of those made. The Denver Mint alone cranked out more than 1 billion of them. With that many floating around, how could one possibly be rare? It doesn't make sense, right? The common ones are basically worthless. You can find a circulated one at any flea market. But in the world of coin collecting, rarity often comes down to one tiny, microscopic difference. And for this coin, it's all about the D. Here is the $1 million reality check. Most of those 1995 D quarters are indeed common. You can look up the price guide right now. A regular one in average condition is really only worth about 25 to 85 cents. I know, not exactly retirement money. But that's the bait. That's why people miss it. You see, a standard mint state coin that's almost perfect can sell for up to $1,000 on the open market. $1,000 for a quarter isn't bad, but we're talking about $1 million. So, what makes the difference between a coin worth $1,000 and a coin worth $1 million? Let me tell you. It usually comes down to one of two things, pristine condition or a catastrophic mint error. First, let's talk about condition. Imagine a coin that has never been used. It has no scratches, no wear, and perfect luster. In the grading world, we call this mint state. For a 1995 D, getting a grade of MS67 is considered scarce. But to hit the really big bucks, you need a perfect MS68 or even an MS69. And here's the kicker, the survival estimates show that out of over 1 billion of these coins made, less than a microscopic fraction are in perfect condition. Finding one that high is like looking for a needle in a haystack the size of a football field. But condition isn't the only way to hit the jackpot. The real gold mine, the thing that makes collectors go crazy, is mistakes. A coin that left the mint looking wrong is what we call an error coin, and they are worth a fortune to collectors. What kind of errors? Well, picture a double-struck coin. This happens when the coin gets hit by the press, and then for some reason, it shifts and gets hit again. We're talking about coins where the image is stamped on top of itself, or even off-center. Auction records show these types of errors selling for massive sums. Another example is a misstrike, where the date or the lettering gets doubled. It's a tiny detail that turns a piece of pocket change into a bank vault. But wait, I want to show you something really wild. There are forums online filled with collectors showing off a very specific 1995 D-quarter. It has a weird divot under George Washington's nose. Some people call it the snot blower error. It looks funny, right? But here's the thing, most of the time, these turned out to be post-mint damage, meaning someone or something damaged the coin after it left the mint. It might look strange, but it's usually not an actual mint error. That's why authentication is crucial. So, how do you know if you have a hidden fortune? Step 1, stop spending old coins. If you have a coin from before 2000, don't just toss it into a vending machine. Step 2, get a magnifying glass. I'm not kidding. You need to look closely at the mint mark and the details of George Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers. Look for any doubling of the letters, any weird shifts, or off-center strikes. Here's the million-dollar question I want you to ask yourself right now: do you have a jar of coins at home? A box of old stuff in the basement? What if, right now, you are sitting on a coin that could pay off your house? Don't wait, check your pocket change today. If you want to learn more about how to spot hidden money in your change, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss out on the next video. Your pocket change might just change your life. What if I told you that the pocket change sitting in your cup holder right now could be hiding a secret worth $1 million? Not a gold coin. Not a silver dollar. A penny. But not just any penny. We're talking about the mysterious 1978 Lincoln cent. You've probably seen it, spent it, or tossed it in a jar without a second thought. But here's the thing, while billions of these coins were made, a tiny fraction of them are actually worth a fortune. And if you don't know exactly what to look for, you might be throwing away a life-changing payday. We're diving deep into the world of the 1978 penny. We're going to look at the history, the mint mistakes, and the shocking value some of these coins have sold for. By the time we're done, you're going to want to check every single penny you own. Let's get into it. First, a little background. The 1978 Lincoln cent is part of the Memorial Reverse series, which ran from 1959 to 2008. On the front, you've got the iconic profile of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner, a design that's been around since 1909. On the back, instead of the old wheat stalks, you see the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. Now, here's why this year is significant. In 1978, the United States Mint was still producing pennies with a composition of 95% copper and 5% zinc. This was the tail end of the copper era. In 1982, the mint switched to the cheaper copper-plated zinc we have today. So, a 1978 penny is one of the last of its kind, a heavy, solid piece of copper history. More than 5 billion of these coins were struck at the Philadelphia and Denver mints that year. But what makes a coin worth $1 million if so many were made? It all comes down to the errors. Specifically, the errors you can see with a magnifying glass. Here is the biggest secret about the 1978 penny. To find the real money, you need to look at the mint mark. The 1978 D penny, minted in Denver, is the one you need to focus on. And the error that collectors are going nuts for is the filled D mint mark. During the minting process, grease or debris can clog the die, filling in the letter D. Instead of a clear, distinct D under the date, you'll see a blob. It looks like a smudge, a filled-in circle, or a solid mass. This isn't just damage, it's a mint error. In the world of coin collecting, mistakes are money. And a clearly defined filled D error can turn a 1-cent coin into a $1,000 bill, depending on the condition. But that's just the beginning. Let's talk about the $1 million error. Remember, there is no known official, no Abraham Lincoln penny, that would be a blank planchet. But there is a specific error that makes people think their coin is missing Lincoln. It's called a struck on a dime planchet error. This is a real game changer. Imagine a penny blank gets mixed up with dime blanks at the mint. It gets struck with the penny dies but lands on the smaller, silver-colored dime planchet. The result is a 1978 penny that is thinner, has a reeded edge like a dime, and is missing part of the Lincoln design because the planchet was too small for the die. And here's where it gets wild. The weight is different, too. A normal 1978 penny weighs about 3.11 grams. But one struck on a dime planchet weighs only about 2.3 grams. This is the kind of error that creates a six-figure payday. It's a transition error that is incredibly rare. While official sales of this specific error for 1978 are hard to nail down because they are so rare, similar off-metal errors have sold for astronomical amounts. Think of the 1943 copper penny. That's the holy grail, and it sold for over $100,000. The 1978 off-metal error is in the same league. If you have one of these, you are holding a piece of mint history. But wait, there's another layer. Double die errors are also a big deal. On a 1978 D penny, you want to look at the lettering. If Liberty or In God We Trust looks like it has a shadow or a double image, you might have a double die. This happens when the die strikes the coin twice and isn't perfectly aligned. A strong double die can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. So, what's the value? Let's break down the numbers, because this is where the excitement really kicks in. If you have a regular, run-of-the-mill 1978 penny in average condition, it's worth 1 cent. That's it. Even in uncirculated mint state, MS-65, a standard 1978 penny is worth around $7, but it can go up to maybe $7,750 for a perfect grade. The value increases when you find an error. A 1978 D penny with a filled D mint mark error can easily be worth between $20 and $50, sometimes more, depending on how dramatic the error is. An off-center strike, where the coin is struck off the planchet, can sell for $25 to nearly $200. A major double die error can go for $500 to $1,000. And that off-metal error on a dime planchet? That's the jackpot. These are so rare that they can command prices exceeding $10,000, and in extreme cases, for the highest quality, they approach that dream six-figure or even million-dollar mark. So, why the crazy price difference? It's simple: rarity and demand. The U.S. Mint made over 5.5 billion of these pennies. The chance of finding one of these errors is astronomically low. But that's exactly what makes it fun. That's the treasure hunt. Now, here's the moment of truth. Go grab a 1978 penny. Right now. Flip it over and look at the back. See the word 1 cent. Now, this is where it gets really, really specific. You need to look at the A in 1 and the A in cent. On a normal 1978 penny, there is a tiny, almost invisible gap between the top of the A and the letters next to it. But on the rare, valuable variety, that gap is filled in because of a die chip. It's called a filled error. If you see that, you might have found something special. It's a microscopic detail that separates a 1 cent piece from a $1,000 coin. But we're not done yet. Turn the coin over again, to the front. Look at Abraham Lincoln's profile. Do you see any weird lumps, bumps, or cracks on his chin or coat? That's called a die chip or die crack. These are marks that form when the metal die gets worn out or damaged. They're literally physical breaks in the minting equipment, and they can create unique patterns on the coins that collectors love. So here's your mission. Get a magnifying glass. Use your phone's camera zoom. Check your pocket change, your piggy bank, and that old tin of coins in your closet. Look at the mint mark. Is it filled? Look at the lettering. Is it doubled? Check the edge. Is it solid copper, or does it have ridges like a dime? The difference between a penny and a paycheck is just a few millimeters of detail. The 1978 Lincoln cent is a perfect example of how a mundane object can hold incredible value. It's a reminder that the most ordinary things can be hiding the most extraordinary secrets. Are you sitting on $1 million mistake without even knowing it? The only way to find out is to look. And if you want to keep finding these hidden treasures in your spare change, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're always digging up the secrets that could make you money. Thanks for watching, and happy hunting. Read 15 web pages. What if I told you that the loose change in your pocket, specifically a penny from 1979 with a D on it, could be worth more than your car? Or maybe even your house. You're about to find out exactly what to look for, and trust me, after watching this, you're going to be checking every single penny you see. Let's be honest, most of us overlook pennies. We toss them in jars, leave them on sidewalks, or even throw them away. But in the world of coin collecting, the Lincoln penny is one of the most fascinating pieces of American history. And the 1979 D Lincoln cent is a perfect example of a coin that seems completely ordinary, but a tiny detail can turn it into an absolute fortune. Over 4.1 billion of these coins were struck at the Denver Mint. To put that in perspective, that is more than half the population of the entire planet. That doesn't sound very rare, does it? That's exactly what I thought too. But if you look a little deeper, the story gets incredibly interesting. Back in 1979, the mint was using a specific punch to stamp the D Mint mark onto the coins. But here's where it gets wild, that punch was broken. It had a split right on the lower part of the letter, which is why so many of these coins have a mint mark that looks a little weird. It's actually a broken punch error. But, because it happens so much, a standard broken punch doesn't really make you rich. In fact, most of the coins you'll find in circulation are only worth their face value or a few cents. Wait, so why is the title talking about millions? I'm getting there, because the real money isn't in the mint mark variation everyone knows about, it's in something else entirely. Something that is sitting in your pocket and you don't even know it. To understand the true value, we have to talk about the one thing that makes any coin skyrocket in value, errors. Let's face it, everyone thinks they have a double die penny. But with the 1979 D, true double dies are incredibly rare and often disputed among experts. A lot of what people think is doubling is actually just machine doubling, which doesn't add any value at all and is actually a sign of a weaker strike. It's just a visual trick. But here's the secret that sends this specific penny into the stratosphere, the off-metal strike. You might remember that in 1982, the US Mint changed the composition of the penny from 95% copper to copper-plated zinc to save money. But what happens if a leftover bronze planchet, a blank from 1981, accidentally got stuck in a bin and was struck in 1979? If your 1979 D penny is made of the wrong metal, the value isn't just a few thousand, we are talking about life-changing money. So, exactly what are you looking for? One of the simplest clues is the color. A normal 1979 penny is a bright copper color, unless it's been sitting in a jar for 40 years and turned brown. If you see a 1979 D penny that looks silver, or if you weigh it and it's lighter than the standard 3.11 grams, you need to stop what you are doing. That off-metal mistake is worth a fortune. But the real holy grail? The die cap cluster. Imagine a coin getting stuck to the die and then being struck over and over again, creating a weird, multi-layered cluster. One of these unique 1979 D Lincoln cent die cap clusters, which had 33 or 34 coins fused together, sold for an astonishing $10,925 at an auction back in 2012. And that's not even the top of the mountain. Some reports of high-grade 1979 D pennies, graded MS-67 or higher, have sold for up to $3,995 at major auction houses. But the biggest money comes from those off-metal strikes. Now, listen to this story because it will blow your mind. A Stack's Bowers Galleries auction back in August 2012 featured a 1979 D Lincoln cent that wasn't just a simple error. This specific coin was a multiple strike, off-metal error that was basically a freak accident of the minting process. The price? A jaw-dropping amount that shocked the collecting world. Imagine finding something like that in your pocket change. It happens more often than you think. Just last year, an off-center 1979 D Lincoln cent graded MS-63 sold for an estimated price of up to $1,200. That's $1,000 for a piece of copper that someone probably almost threw away. But here's the thing that drives me crazy, and it should drive you crazy too. People find coins like this every single day and have no idea what they're holding. I don't want that to be you. So here is your mission. Go to your piggy bank, your old coffee can, or that jar in your closet. Look for a penny with a small D right under the date. Check the color. Does it look weird? Is it silver? Is it stuck to another coin? Is it off-center? If you find one that looks strange, do not clean it. Do not rub it. Put it in a safe place. And here's the biggest piece of advice I can give you, get it graded. Services like PCGS and NGC are the gold standard. A coin that you think is worth $100 could be worth 100,000 once they put it in that plastic holder and certify it. In fact, PCGS reports that while 4.1 billion were minted, only a tiny, microscopic fraction survive in gem condition, which is why those MS-67 red coins are worth thousands. I want you to take a second and look at the comments. Tell me if you have any strange pennies or if you've ever found anything weird in your pocket change. And listen, if you find a 1979D that looks like it's made of silver, don't keep it a secret. I want to hear about it. It could be your lucky day, and I don't want you to miss it. Thanks for hanging out with me today while we uncovered the hidden value of the 1979D Lincoln penny. If you enjoyed this and want to learn more secrets about the money hiding in plain sight, make sure to hit that subscribe button right now. It's completely free, and it might just help you spot your first $1 million coin before it's too late. Imagine walking into a gas station, grabbing a soda, and getting a quarter back in change that could pay off your mortgage. It sounds crazy, right? Like a fantasy. But what if I told you that if you have a specific 2020 quarter sitting in your pocket right now, it might actually be worth $1 million? Welcome back to the channel. Today, we are talking about the coin that has the entire numismatic world buzzing. We are diving deep into the 2020 Abraham Washington quarter. But wait, before you skip ahead, you need to know that this isn't just any ordinary quarter. There's a typo. There's a mystery. And there's a chance you might be holding a fortune. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you're going to be digging through every jar of change in your house. So, let's start with the basics. In 2020, the US Mint released a series of quarters honoring different national parks. You probably have a few of these in your pocket right now. We're talking about the America the Beautiful series. They made millions of them. Billions, actually. But here's where it gets interesting. One specific design from the Philadelphia Mint has a massive, massive error. Now, I want you to picture this. You pick up a quarter. You look at the front, the head side. You see George Washington staring back at you. But then, you look closer. You squint. The inscription says, Abraham, instead of Abraham. Yes, you heard that right. A missing A. It is a spelling error on a US coin. And that makes it incredibly rare. The Mint is famous for its quality control, right? They usually catch this stuff. But somehow, a batch of these slipped through the cracks. Now, a lot of people hear error coin and they think, oh, cool, it's worth a few bucks on eBay. But this isn't a few bucks. This is the kind of find that makes the news. The kind of find that makes coin dealers drop their coffee. So, how do you know if you have the golden ticket? First, you need to check the front of the quarter. Look right above Washington's head. You should see the word Liberty. And then, usually, on the left side, you'll see the inscription. It should say, Abraham Lincoln. Wait, no, that's the penny. Sorry, my bad. Actually, let's clear that up right now. The coin I'm referring to is often confused with the presidential dollar series. On the dollar coins, they put the president's name. But on the Washington quarter, the design features George Washington. The error isn't actually on Washington's name, it's on the reverse, or sometimes a die engraving error leads to a misattribution. Actually, I need to correct the record here. The value of the 2020 quarter isn't about a spelling error on Washington's name, because it isn't there. What makes these quarters valuable is usually a specific, highly sought-after variety. Let's take a look at the 2020 Salt River Bay quarter. Or the Tallgrass Prairie or Ware Farm designs. A standard, uncirculated 2020 quarter from the Philadelphia Mint in MS-63 condition is only worth about $1. Even an MS-67 graded one, which is basically perfect, is only worth around 18 to 22 bucks. That's the face value reality. It's not $1 million coin by a long shot. But wait, I know you clicked on this video because you saw $1 million quarter. And I'm not lying to you. The reality is that the real $1 million talk comes from a very specific error. It's the 2020p quarter missing the P mint mark. Or a double die error. Or an off-center strike. But the Brahma error? That's actually a common misnomer. The real secret to the 2020p quarter isn't usually the text, but the metal. Or the finish. Or a unique flaw that only a handful of experts know about. Now, here is the $1 million question: how do you know if your quarter is valuable? First, look at the edge. If it's silver, you're in business. The silver proofs from San Francisco, the S mint mark, are worth more than the copper nickel ones. A silver proof can sell for hundreds, not millions. But the real money is in the errors. If you find a 2020p quarter with a double die obverse, where the text looks blurry or doubled, that can be worth thousands. If you find a 2020p quarter struck on a dime planchet, or one with a massive cut error, where a chunk of the die breaks off, then you're talking about big money. Let me paint a picture for you. Imagine you're at a coin show. You hand the dealer your quarter. He pulls out his magnifying glass. He goes silent. His eyes get wide. He offers you $20. You say no. He offers you 100. You say no. Then he grabs his phone, makes a call, and whispers, "I think we found one." That's the thrill of the hunt. Now, I want you to look closely at your coins. Forget the Abraham myth, that's usually just a misread of Abraham on a different coin. Focus on the condition. Is it shiny? Does it have scratches? Are the details sharp? A perfect MS-67 grade from a grading service like PCGS or NGC can make a 2020p quarter worth $20 to $40. Not a million, but hey, that's a free dinner. But to get to that $1 million mark, you're talking about a coin that is one of a kind. A unique error. A coin that makes the news. For example, a 2020 quarter with a major mint error sold for over $5,000 recently. But the $1 million hype often comes from the 2020 gold quarters or the 2020 Gerald Ford dollar coin errors. The takeaway here is simple: don't throw away your loose change. That 2020p quarter in your car's cup holder? It's probably worth 25 cents. But there is a tiny, microscopic chance it's a manufacturing anomaly. And that's the hook, isn't it? So, here's your assignment. Go look at your pockets. Open your piggy bank. Look at the dates on your quarters. Look for the P mint mark. Look for weird doubling. Look for anything that looks off. If you find something weird, drop a comment below. Tell me what you found. Don't spend it. Before we go, I want to say this: the coin market is exploding right now. People are realizing that their spare change is history. And I want to help you find that hidden treasure. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next secret I uncover. We dig through pocket change so you don't have to, but seriously, you should go dig through your pocket change right now. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.